Now, to get back to the question, we need to understand that there are two main types of muscles. And if I decide to pick this as my good example, let me pick this to be my good example of what you call the humerus. So it actually extends here and reaches here. Of course, we are going to call the radius and the ulna. Okay, so we have this as our radius and ulna. Okay, so just a sketch to indicate what you need to know. Okay, fine. So this is my humerus, and this preferably becomes the head of the humerus. Head of humerus, head of humerus, and this can actually be able to form what we call the biceps, and this back can form what you call the triceps. Okay, the triceps. The triceps. Okay, so these muscles have to actually extend and be able to attach themselves onto this one. So this is the extension of the triceps, then the biceps as muscles in our discussion here. So at every joint, and this is a very good example of what you call a hinge joint, where the condyles of this humerus are fitting into the sigmoid notch. They're fitting into the sigmoid notch of this head or the cavity or the depression of this radius and ulna. So we can actually be able to have this one as our ulna and this one as our radius. Correct? There must be a short finger here, there must be a thumb here. Correct? So this can be our thumb, this can be our small finger. So I just wanted to explain to you the types of muscles found at the joint in my class today. And I've said I've given an example of this humerus and this radius and this ulna, and be able to see which type of joint first is formed between these two bones that meet, for there are three: the humerus, the radius, and the ulna. They are meeting here, forming a joint called a hinge joint, where it's only movement up to 180 degrees, and the movement does not occur through all planes. So at this point, I've said the condyles of this humerus are fitting into the sigmoid notch as a depression or cavity of the radius and ulna. And of course, this point, serving as our joint, must have muscles that keep those bones together. And of course, we have two main types of muscles for me to mention today. You have what you call a ligament, you have what you call a tendon. You may want to also mention what you call a cartilage. So I just want to give a brief difference between these three. So a ligament is an inelastic tissue. You see, it only allows room for extension to a particular point. There's a difference between being elastic and being inelastic. So it does not facilitate an excessive extension. Any excessive extension at the joint can cause what you call dislocation. So you see, this muscle called the bicep, that you can be able to see here, and this muscle called the tricep you're seeing just around this can get called ligaments. Inelastic tissues that be able to actually hold those two bones together, preventing any further extension or any excessive extension or any unexpected extension causing dislocation. So the main function of a ligament is to hold two bones together at the joint, preventing any dislocation because the muscles are inelastic. Now, then, what will actually attach these muscles to the bone? Because the bone can also have to end up having the muscles getting attached onto it. And of course, we say muscles are attached onto bones in human beings. So the type of skeleton they have is called an endoskeleton. The skeleton is to the inside, and to the outside of that skeleton, muscles are attached onto it. So, which type of tissue attaches the muscles onto the skeleton or the bones? It is called a tendon. An inelastic tissue that attaches muscle to the bone or the surface of the bone. So, a ligament as an inelastic tissue at the joint, or ligaments as inelastic tissues at the joint, will keep two bones together, will hold two bones together in position, preventing overstretching that might cause what you call dislocation. But a tendon is an elastic tissue, or tendons are inelastic tissues that attach these muscles onto the surface of the bone. So, for example, for a ligament, as a type of a muscle to get attached onto the surface of a bone, it requires a tendon for that type of attachment. Then a cartilage is between now the two bones. So when the two bones meet, between them, at their points of contact, there's a cartilage holding these bones together. You get the point? So that brings about reduced friction, because if these bones rub against each other physically without anything between them, that can cause the wearing out of the bones and causing a lot of pain. So the cartilage will be able to cover the surfaces going to be in contact, and as far as where the bones meet is concerned. So where bones meet at a joint, at the point of contact, on the two surfaces, on the two end parts where the bones have to make contact, there's what we call a cartilage as a very important tissue that can reduce friction and hold the bones together in position. So biceps and triceps are examples of muscles. Such muscles that are able to get found at the joint are called paired muscles. Paired muscles, or they always occur in a pair, and they are also antagonistic. To me, they always have their effects occurring in the opposite direction. So that when one muscle contracts, the other one relaxes to bring about the extension at the joint or the flexing of the arm, for example. For example, biceps can actually be able to relax or contract, and triceps can actually relax. So when biceps are contracting, the triceps are relaxing. Now, these muscles have to get differentiated. How? For example, the muscles are attached onto the origin, which is now the immovable bone, or inserted onto the movable bone. For example, this bicep is attached onto this immovable bone as the origin. Look at that. And inserted onto this movable bone, the radius. This tricep is attached onto this immovable bone, the humerus, as the origin, and then inserted onto this ulna, which is movable. So muscles must have 2 points in terms of where they are attached. One, the origin, where the muscles originates, and that origin must be an immovable bone. And on the other hand, where the muscle gets attached onto that movable bone. So biceps can actually have an origin of the humerus, which is an immovable bone, and again get inserted onto a movable bone, which is now the radius. If you look at the tricep, it can get inserted onto or attached onto the origin, the immovable bone, the humerus, and get inserted onto this movable bone, which is now our ulna. So they are antagonistic and occur in pairs. When this contract, this will relax. When this relax, this contract, to bring about either the flexing or the bending of the arm or the stretching of the arm. For example, when the biceps contract, when they contract, what happens? When they contract, what happens? These triceps relax. And when they relax, these biceps getting attached onto this ulnar radius will be able to pull the ulnar radius upwards. I repeat, when the biceps contracts and the triceps relax, what happens? These biceps pull the ulnar radius. At the end of the day, your arm is flexed or bent. The opposite is true, or vice versa. What happens? When biceps relax and triceps contract, what happens? The triceps pull the ulnar radius. And as they pull the ulnar radius, the arm is stretched. Remembering that the ligaments at this joint will prevent overstretching that might cause dislocation. So triceps and biceps are antagonistic in their kind pairs to mean they either contract or relax, either flexing the arm or bending the arm, or as well stretching the arm or causing stretching at the joint. And that just gives us a summary of how these muscles work. In as far as stretching the arm or bending the arm or flexing the arm or bringing about movement at a particular joint in the body of a human being.